It's official. Paapa Essiedu has been confirmed as Severus Snape in the new Harry Potter series. And the fans' reaction? A complete explosion of opinions. While some celebrated the casting, after all, he already showcased incredible talent in I May Destroy You. Part of the community raised an important point. This change could create a serious issue within the original story. But before anything else, let's make one thing crystal clear. Paapa Essiedu is a talented actor, and no one should be attacking him for this casting. A new adaptation means new possibilities, and that can be great. But at the same time, this specific change could create a massive issue at the core of the Harry Potter universe. And that's what we need to talk about. In the Harry Potter story, Severus Snape was a boy who was bullied for being pale, thin, and having greasy black hair. But more than that, his appearance was directly tied to how he was treated in his youth. And here's where the problem starts. If Snape is black, his entire relationship with the Marauders changes completely. The bullying he endured from James Potter, Sirius, and the others wouldn't just be the classic weird nerd versus popular kids dynamic anymore. It could be interpreted as racial harassment, which would suddenly cast the Marauders, and even Harry himself, in a potentially racist light. And that would be a huge shift. The story's focus, which has always been about fighting the glorification of wizarding blood purity, would suddenly become about racial prejudice. Which, of course, is an extremely important topic, but it was never a central theme in Harry Potter. This creates a complete anomaly within the wizarding world, because if that dynamic is altered, it fundamentally changes the tone of the narrative and how the audience perceives the characters. Will the series have the guts to tackle this issue head-on, or will it simply ignore the impact and pretend nothing has changed? And here's another key point. When this series was announced, the promise was that it would be completely faithful to the original books. That includes the characterization of the characters, because appearance is part of who they are in the story. So, if this change was made purely for marketing reasons, disregarding the internal coherence of the universe, then the series is already off to a bad start. Now, before anyone says, but a black Hermione in The Cursed Child wasn't a problem, we need to remember that, in that case, the change didn't directly affect the story's dynamics. Racism was never an issue that impacted Hermione in the books. She faced prejudice for being a Muggle-born witch, which has nothing to do with her skin color. But with Snape, this change introduces a new issue that didn't exist before. And that's the biggest fear among fans. Because if the series changes his ethnicity without adjusting the narrative accordingly, the adaptation will feel lazy and artificial. But if they try to insert a racial discussion that was never part of the original story, they risk distorting the wizarding world and casting iconic characters in an unnecessarily negative light. At the end of the day, this isn't about not wanting a black Snape. The issue is that this specific change affects the canon in a way that could compromise the entire adaptation. And once again, Paapa Essiedu is not to blame for anything. He's an amazing actor and could deliver an incredible performance. The concern is that this decision wasn't made with the narrative in mind, but rather for marketing reasons, and that never ends well. So, now that the decision has been made, the big question is, will this change enrich the story or create problems that the franchise isn't prepared to handle? Will the series have the courage to explore this new dynamic in depth, or will it just pretend nothing changed? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into the nerd world.